Tonight, I want to share a special submission with you all. Last week, a father learned something. His daughter, who had just turned 14, had been dating a 13-year-old girl. Not the kind of we do homework together dating, but the kind with passionate kissing, witnessed multiple times by classmates. Everyone knew except the parents. That sentence might be the most painful part of the whole story. Friends knew, classmates knew, even teachers might have known, only the parents were kept in the dark. And they thought they were raising a normal daughter. This daughter had previously had a boyfriend, which lasted only 2 weeks. She had never shown interest in girls. So when the truth surfaced, the father said they were shocked, not just because she was dating, but because her partner was the same sex. Alright, at this point in the story, I want to ask all of you, do you think a 14-year-old needs to inform their parents in advance about their sexual orientation? Or even more fundamentally, does she herself fully know who she is yet? Let's continue. The real conflict comes from the mother. She comes from an extremely conservative culture, the kind where if someone comes out, they would be driven out of the town. So her reaction, in some ways, is an imprint of that culture on her. She stopped talking to her daughter, not a Cold War, but complete disregard. When her daughter walks into the room, she pretends she doesn't exist. The only times she speaks are to say harsh, insulting things. Then she saw her daughter's diary or messages where the daughter called her a bitch and called this home hell. And the mother's response? She wants to send her daughter to a boarding school in another country if they can afford it. Everyone, there's something I have to point out here. When a person calls their home hell and calls their mother a bitch, yes, it's disrespectful. It's hurtful. But I want to ask, where did a 14-year-old learn to describe her home as hell? She wasn't born knowing that word. She felt something first, and then found a word to match it. If what she felt was love, acceptance, being seen, she wouldn't have written that word. The father said he advised his wife not to interfere with the relationship between the two girls. He said, "We must let the kids live their own lives and decide who they date." That sounds open-minded, right? But he also admitted that he encouraged his daughter to think, are you really old enough? Do you really know what you want? If you're mature enough, why come out in the deep south of the United States? You see, the father thinks he's standing on rational ground, but he's doing the same thing, questioning his daughter's feelings, implying her choice is immature. Both parents, in different ways, are doing the same thing, refusing to accept who their daughter is right now. The mother uses silence and insults. The father uses rational conversation wrapped around doubt. And that 13-year-old girl, the one the mother called and threatened to cut off the relationship immediately or face confrontation between parents, she became the scapegoat. The mother said this girl started it all and was persistent until her daughter agreed to date. This reminds me of a common psychological phenomenon. When parents cannot accept their child's choices, they often blame external influences. It's that bad kid who led mine astray. It's social media, it's school, anything but the possibility that their child truly wants this. But dear friends, can a 13-year-old really be persistent enough to make a 14-year-old enter a relationship against her will? If it were that easy, we wouldn't worry about teenage relationships at all. Just send a few persistent 13-year-olds and everyone would turn gay. That clearly doesn't make sense. What's more likely is this. The 14-year-old girl does have feelings for that girl. She was just hiding them. How long had she been hiding? Probably a long time. Long enough that everyone knew except her parents. Long enough that she would rather write in her diary calling her mother a bitch than sit down and talk. The father said the two girls broke up after the incident. But since they see each other at school every day, no one can be sure. My guess, they probably didn't break up. They just became more careful. Or maybe they did separate, but the feelings are still there. A 14-year-old experiencing her first love, caught between her mother's threats and her father's doubts. What did she learn? She learned, my love is dangerous. It can destroy this family. It must be hidden. Everyone, there are no villains in this story. The mother is not a villain. She's deeply marked by her culture. Her fear is real. She fears the community's judgment, fears her daughter being excluded, fears being excluded herself. Her silence is not indifference, it's fear so overwhelming she cannot speak. Her insults are not hatred, they are helplessness. The father is not a villain either. He tries to be rational, to protect both his wife and daughter, to let things pass, but his rationality lacks true respect for his daughter's emotional world. The daughter is certainly not a villain. She is 14. She is exploring who she is. That should be one of the most normal things at her age. It's just that the direction of her exploration makes her mother feel like the house is collapsing. And that 13-year-old girl, she may have simply liked someone and then got frightened and overwhelmed by a phone call from an adult. So if you ask me what the core of this story is, it's not about homosexuality. It's about a family losing the ability to see each other. The mother cannot see her daughter's struggle. The father cannot see his wife's fear. The daughter cannot see how deeply her parents are shaped by their culture. They are all shouting, but no one is listening. The second story comes from a 16-year-old boy. His voice is young, but the weight between his lines makes it feel like he aged 10 years overnight. He said, "I just found out my girlfriend is pregnant." Just that one sentence. He said he typed it several times before sending it. "I come from a not at all wealthy family, while hers is quite wealthy and stable." The tension in that sentence is something many people may never experience in their lifetime. He said he's not afraid of taking responsibility. What he fears is this: when he takes responsibility, in her parents' eyes, it will look like a poor boy ruining their daughter's life. What he fears is not that he made a mistake, but that as a person, he was never good enough to begin with. This is the deepest pain of a 16-year-old boy, not insecurity because of poverty, but because of poverty, even his right to be responsible is questioned. He said, "I feel like they will look down on me, or put all the blame on me." Friends, can you hear the despair in that? He's not unwilling to take responsibility. He's afraid that his responsibility won't matter at all in others' eyes. In psychology, there's a concept called forced maturity. It's different from natural growth. Natural growth is learning gradually, tying your shoes, making decisions, taking consequences. Forced maturity is when life suddenly throws a weight you're completely unprepared for onto your shoulders and says, "Here, you're an adult now." This 16-year-old boy, yesterday he might have been debating whether to text her good night, and today he has to think about whether to keep the baby, how to tell their parents, where the money will come from, what happens to school. He asked me, "I don't know which thing to think about first." My answer is, you don't need to figure everything out at once. No one can stay clear-headed under this kind of shock. Your confusion, fear, and helplessness are not signs of failure. On the contrary, they are the natural response of a normal 16-year-old human facing an impossible exam. If you're going through something similar, or you want to know what I would say to that boy, here is my answer, without sugarcoating. First, you don't have to carry this alone. You are 16. Your prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for decision-making and impulse control, doesn't fully develop until around 25. Feeling overwhelmed is not because you are weak, it's because your hardware isn't ready for this level of crisis. This is not your fault. Second, find an adult. I know it's hard, but you must. It could be your parents, a school counselor, a trusted relative, or a coach. It doesn't have to be your parents if you truly can't tell them. Find someone you trust first. Carrying this alone is like trying to hold back a dam with one hand. You can't do it. Third, sit down with your girlfriend and list all options without emotion. Keep the baby, terminate, adoption. What are the real-life consequences of each? You need to research together, consult medical professionals together, and face it together. Don't let fear make the decision for you. Fourth, about her parents, yes, they may be angry, disappointed, and say hurtful things. But remember this, the root of their anger is often fear. They are afraid too. If you can remember that everyone is afraid, maybe the conversation can have less confrontation. You ask me if you will ruin everything. Let me tell you a secret. The truly important things in life never happen when you are fully ready. No one is truly ready to become a parent. No one is truly ready to face illness. No one is truly ready to say goodbye to loved ones. We all learn to run halfway through the journey. You are standing in a place that many people will never stand in their entire lives. Your fear is real, your panic is reasonable, your confusion is normal. But what you've already shown facing it, wanting to take responsibility, worrying about putting pressure on her, these things are worth more than money. You will make mistakes, you may be scolded. You may cry many times, but you will not ruin everything. Because someone who truly ruins everything would never be up late at night, anxious enough to write to an advice column. You are here. You are looking for answers. You are asking, what should I do? That alone is already a very good start. That's all for tonight's story. If you've ever faced a situation in the middle of the night where there was nowhere to escape, if you've ever felt not good enough, not strong enough, not qualified enough, you are not alone. We are all on the way. We are all learning to become someone who can carry just a little more than yesterday.